beer.
Welcome to the Fat Elvis podcast.
Yeah.
It's episode 7. And Corgan,
Preach.
we're all gonna die.
Yeah, it happens.
Probably soon.
No.
Listen, okay, I'm gonna just go straight into the bad news breakdown because we are in imminent danger.
We are?
Nuclear annihilation is upon us, sir.
From who?
Vlad.
Will.
Vladdy boy. He is. So basically, what's been going on recently, there's been some hijinks a brewing in Ukraine with the war and the whatnot. They were saying for a while that Ukraine was like winning, but now we're kind of learning that maybe they weren't winning as much as we thought, but they still kind of are, but they're not really anymore. And Vladimir Putin was just kind of like, hey, if we don't win, I'm gonna blow you up. So nukes are gonna happen maybe, and probably not. Everybody loves to yell, "I'm gonna nuke you," and then they don't. But it could happen in theory. So we're gonna die.
Okay.
Because if they nuke Ukraine, lots of nukes are gonna go off everywhere else. Chain reaction, we all die.
Oh, yeah, that happens. Did you know there's 5 unaccounted nukes that have been stolen?
Then that's terrifying. I think about that like way more often than I should.
Where do you think they are?
Dude, what if you just found one?
Like we're in a hole?
Yeah, like what if you're just in you're walking around in the woods and then there's just boom, a nuke.
And there's like
a giant rocket.
And then there's just this little homeless man. He's like, I bought this at a garage sale. $3.50.
Who do you call?
I don't know. I mean, like I feel like if you call the cops, they don't do anything. Not really exactly the FBI's number.
They probably think it was a prank call.
This is 3 episodes in a row that we've talked about bombs.
Well, we talk about blowing shit up a lot.
It happens.
You grab your phone, 911. I need the Navy.
What's the Navy supposed to do?
I don't know. SpongeBob reference. That's what that was.
SpongeBob.
Sponge knob square nuts.
Yeah, it happens.
Okay, so basically, the whole point of this is we need to figure out what we're gonna do to survive a nuclear holocaust.
I mean, like, I feel like I'll be fine.
So if like nukes just happened right now, you just sit there.
And I'd be like, not right now.
You wouldn't even go to the basement. You'd just be like,
I don't have a basement.
There's one right there. We're sitting here. Nukes go off.
Oh.
Basement.
Well,
next to us.
I just said what I would do is I'd just be like, I'm not in the mood, and then I'd just make it stop.
The nukes would just fizzle out.
There'd be nothing
listen,
around
okay,
me.
I've been talking about this for a long time, right?
Okay.
The world erupts in flames, and from the ashes is birthed new Justonia. And Corgan... Justonia. New Justonia. And Corgan, you will be my second in command. My right-hand man.
I don't think I want to be.
And my left-hand man. I have no hands.
Where'd they go?
They fucking got blown off by nukes.
I had to eat them to survive.
Yeah, Jesus... Jesus was in the desert for like a month. I was in the desert for a month and a day. And on the last day was just too much. I had to eat my hands.
I've had that happen to me before.
Yeah, but I still lasted longer than Jesus, and that's why everybody will follow me into the new brave world.
Wow.
So we need to figure out, first of all, how we're gonna survive the initial nuclear blast, then build our empire.
I thought we did an episode like this,
No, that
2.
was zombies.
Oh.
This is nukes. Okay, and this is more real, man, because it could be happening right now. As far as we don't know. We could just start hearing big booms all of a sudden.
This microphone smells like chapstick.
Yeah, this one smells like beer.
Let me smell it. Smell my microphone. It smells like chapstick.
Yeah, it smells like chapstick. It kind of smells like my pipe tobacco, actually.
You're recording yourself with this thing, smoking pipe?
Well, no, I was probably smoking a pipe and playing a video game and talking to somebody.
This is off topic because I was thinking, like, we'll get back on the nuclear thing. Let me talk about this real quick. So, I was talking to my friend, and just him saying this made me think of you. He said when he was in high school, when he'd smoke weed, he'd smoke it out of like a grandfather pipe, like a corncob pipe,
Yeah. I
and
don't think you're
like
supposed to do that.
he said that's how he would like get high, is smoking out of that. And I'm like, if Justin like actually smoked weed, he'd fucking smoke it out of his pipe, and it'd fucking be hilarious.
Hmm. I don't think, because then like my pipe would just taste like weed all the time.
I mean, maybe you'd buy a second pipe to do that.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't.
It'd be fucking awesome. That's always
No,
what
like
I feel like it's every high schooler's dream is to smoke weed out of a pipe, because that's what I wanted to do all through high school too.
well, see, like my thing is like it's already douchey enough that I smoke a pipe in general.
It's not
I'm not gonna
douchey.
be
It's
the dude
cool.
smoking weed out of it.
Imagine just pulling up to the function with a pipe full of weed.
That's what I do.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like it. I like it more because it burns your tongue a whole lot fucking less than a cigar.
Yeah.
And it's just there's a process to it that I enjoy, and lots of tobaccos that are nice. Wait a second. You're distracting me from the topic at hand because for some reason you're uncomfortable with rising up from the ashes and birthing a new millennium.
Honestly, I don't think I want to survive. I think I would just let it happen. I mean,
Too
like,
bad. I'm gonna fucking drag you from the grave, kicking and screaming.
the bells have tolled. My time has come. I don't fucking want to keep on going.
Okay, listen.
But if it's nuked, I feel like I've had a good run.
Okay, we're forming. Let's skip ahead a little bit. Nukes happened. You said no. Everything exploded, but we were fine. We just sit here.
I casted a spell.
Yeah, you cast protection on us, and then now we waited like a subsequent like 6 months.
So wait, would we be the only two people to survive?
No. We're just the only two that didn't take shelter and survived.
You think Will would have survived?
Not at all. But it's intriguing.
They would.
It's an intriguing concept. So let's say he did.
I feel like they would have shot the nukes at him because they know how powerful he is.
They aimed all the nukes at his house. Like, we can't let this.
If he did, we fucking probably would show up there, and it'd probably be the same situation as zombie apocalypse, where he would just be in like a grave of beer. You just an entire room full of beer cans is just like he's engulfed in.
This is probably gonna be loud, but I have to adjust my mic. Okay. Hopefully I won't have to do that again.
What do you think? How do you think he would?
How do I think Will would survive?
How do you think he would be?
Or how do we
if he
find
did
him?
survive?
Yeah, you're right. I think like we use our magic to survive the blast, and the first thing we're gonna do, we look at each other. Let's go find Will, and then we go to his house. It's gonna be just like how we found him in the zombie episode. He's gonna be laying in his bed like it's a sarcophagus covered in beer cans, because that's how I always find him.
Since we brought up our other friends in this, how do you think we would find Kenny, the naked man?
Well, he'd probably be naked.
He probably would. He'd probably be wearing
frolicking.
his string mankini.
Yeah, he's got.
The world is ended and he has no worries.
I believe they are colloquially known as banana hammocks.
Oh yeah. I honestly don't think I'd be worried about him. I feel like he'd be.
Kenny would kind of be like.
He'd be going off. Let him do something.
I feel like in our new society, he'd kind of be like a folk legend, where like.
He's like Bigfoot.
Just like, well, yeah, sort of. Except it's like, there's like a legend. It's like, oh, if you go out in the woods at night, sometimes you'll see a naked pixie.
You'll find
frolicking through the forest.
You'll find a 6-foot mankini monster.
6-foot mankini monster. That's what I think. That's just what people call them now.
What about the twins? I feel like they'd be conjoined.
No,
the
dude,
radiation
no.
would get to them. And they'd
One
be
of
conjoined.
them, as soon as society collapses and there's no more repercussions for bad deeds, one of them will kill the other. I can almost guarantee that.
Possibly.
Dude, they've been like, think about it. Like, they had to share a room their entire childhood.
Yeah.
They were so cooped up and just like, there's so much aggression between them. They'd murder each other fast.
Yeah, but do you think they would survive?
Yeah.
How? I feel like Dakota would just be like, it'll buff.
Jalen might. Dakota just kind of be like, ah. I feel like that's a very Dakota thing to say. It's like, I don't want to live if there's a nuclear apocalypse. That's the most boring fucking thing.
It'll buff.
Why not try? That's what pisses me off. All these people say, I don't want to live. Try, though. It'll be fun while it lasts. Yeah. You're going to die either way.
I think that's all the friends that we've ever mentioned on the podcast. I don't know.
We talked about Drew before, I think.
Yeah, he wouldn't survive because he's in Florida.
Yeah, Florida would sink immediately. Hopefully.
It would depart from the United States and go afloat.
Yeah.
Go to sea.
Goodbye, Drew. But yeah, Jalen though, I think he'd survive.
Yeah.
Cause that man's a bricklayer. He just fucking build a fucking brick sarcophagus around himself and wait until someone comes finds him.
Do you think mom and dad would survive? Their parents?
Yeah, because their dad, I think, is just.
He would build an ark made of bricks.
Yeah, well, he's just impervious to all damage anyway. Like, yeah, a nuke would just bounce off of him. And then he'd just stand in front of mom.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. You're safe.
My big old titties.
Yeah. The twins' dad is basically just Boomhauer in real life.
Yeah, but he's funnier, I think. Okay, but anyway, right? So we've survived the initial blast. We've waited 6 months. The radiation is cleared. We're starting to see people rising from the bunkers. What are we gonna do to manipulate them into serving us?
I feel like if we find I feel like we should just threaten all their lives.
Well, so that's because we've got like 6 months because we've already established we're nuke proof. We've got a whole 6 months.
I feel like if we build a city in that 6 months, or like we just build a town and then offer shelter, we can be like, all right, listen, if you guys serve us, we'll fucking let you live here. If not, then go.
There's a problem
Goodbye.
with that part of the plan.
Huh.
I don't think either one of us are capable of building a home.
I feel like we'll figure it out.
We'll knock down all of the cities except for the one we own.
Yes.
That's a lot easier than building. Just blow everything up.
Or we could just, prohibition it. Take all the alcohol and be like, hey man, if you want some alcohol, you guys go serve us.
That's what I was gonna say. We just get all the fucking beer, and then of course they're gonna come. I mean, we'll invite them all over for a cookout.
Yeah.
All of humanity.
And then we'll microchip them.
Yes. Now, okay, we've got followers who are chipped and will do our every beck and call. Next step, Jeff Bezos.
No, he did.
No, he's alive. And
I would just go.
He's also forming his own coalition, and it's time for war.
I would just be like, Jeff Bezos, you are dead, and then he'll be dead.
I'm telling you right now, as soon as there's no laws, I'm finding that Jeff Bezos and cutting his head off.
Gross. You're gonna use it as a bowling ball?
Yes. I'm gonna mount it on the front of my war machine. My war machine, you ask? A minivan. Jalen's minivan. It is known as the Saucy Gold.
The one that doesn't run.
It runs.
We got 6 months.
badly.
We got 6 months. We can figure it out.
I'm gonna arm that thing to the teeth. All right. It'll be an iron behemoth of death and misery, and I'll have a platform on top where my throne is, and next to my throne will be a pike for Jeff Bezos' head.
So the town that's close to us, Bainbridge. You know that lot that has an El Camino in it? I'd fucking take that El Camino and I'd like make that shit.
It's not as powerful as the Saucy Gold.
I don't care. I want to be driving an El Camino anyway. Those are cool cars.
When we were in high school, we found out. So Jalen and Dakota both had minivans, and we found out that it is completely legal to drive with the doors open.
Yes.
And so we just started doing that everywhere, and I would like, dude, I'm dumb. We'd be going on the highway, and I would just like hang out of the minivan at 50 miles per hour.
I did that in your car, you remember? And I fucking broke the oh shit handle on your car,
Yeah, you
and I
did.
almost fell out of the car and died.
Yeah.
You were going like 50 or 60.
My dad still owns my car, right? And I was going somewhere with him not too long ago, and he saw that it was broken. He asked me why, and I was like, it's just like old. Like I didn't want to tell him. I was like, oh yeah, my dumbass friend almost killed himself.
I broke my dad's oh shit handle too. I don't know. I think I just yanked on it real hard.
Why'd you do that?
I don't know. It just felt like it needed to happen. Sometimes the Lord just gets inside of me and has me do his reckoning, like break those handles and do stupid shit.
Damn. Yeah, I just think starting our own nation would be fun.
Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't want to do that. That'd be too much responsibility.
I thought it's always
Here's a
been my destiny to
here's your
play God.
beard hair. You
I
can
don't
have
give
it.
me my beard hair. Jesus. But I'm just saying, like, I've always wanted to play God and, you know, do more than any human should and end up killing a lot of people by accident, probably. It's always been a desire of mine.
Are you gonna write a manifesto when you do it?
Yes. I'll start a fucking socialist empire.
Ah.
It'll be New Justonia because the first one's gonna collapse pretty fast, probably. But I'll learn from my mistakes and make New Justonia.
All right. Moving on from the apocalypse.
You don't like apocalypse?
No, I feel like we've said all that we had to say. Tell us about your job situation.
You mean the lack of job situation?
Yeah.
Yeah, I quit my job yesterday.
Yeah. Tell us. How did your day go through that day?
So I got to work
Uh-huh.
and I was like, man, this sucks. And then I was like, all right, bye.
I thought you were thought you said that you wandered around and then you like took a nap.
No, so I've been trying to get fired for like a month, and so I just kind of stopped doing my job. I took a nap the other day, like an hour-long nap, and nobody even said anything. I was just in the break room for most of my shift, and nobody cared. And then, I just like, so yeah, I got to work yesterday. What it really was is I was walking around doing work, and I was like, I'm gonna die, like eventually, pretty soon probably.
My thought process would not have gone to I'm gonna die. I'd be like, all right, well they can't fire me because I'm about to quit, so I'm
Well,
not
no,
gonna
I
do
hadn't
anything.
decided to quit yet at this point. I was just like, I'm gonna die someday, and like, even if I lived like 90 in the long run, that's pretty not that long. Bless you. And so I was just kind of like, I don't really want to die being a wage slave at Kroger.
Mm.
So I just stopped working. Because I go up to my boss, I'm like, yeah, sorry to throw this at you all suddenly, but yeah, I quit. And he goes, why? And I was like, I'm just kind of bored. And I had to explain to him, just like, I want to go home. So I just quit.
when I worked at Kroger and I quit, what I did was I walked up to my manager. I'm like, I'm putting my 2 weeks. And he goes, why? I'm like, well, I'm moving, and I wasn't moving yet. And he's like, okay, where are you moving to? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, okay. Well, is there anything?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's like, well, is there anything I can do to make you stay longer? I'm like, give me a raise. And he goes, I'll see what I can do. I went, never mind, I'm leaving.
Dude, my boss didn't even do that because I was like, yeah, I just kind of need to make more money. And he was like, yeah, it's not going to happen here.
Because he was like, I'll work on that. And then fucking, I knew that if he said he's going to work on it, it's not going to happen. So I was
Right.
like, I'm just going to fucking, I'm out.
Yeah, he was just hoping he could buy like another week.
He's trying to get me to stay like a whole another 2 months. And I'm like,
What? No, it's called a fucking 2-week notice, not a 2-month notice.
Exactly. And I filled out my 2 weeks except for the very last day. Of course.
I didn't even do that. I just it was like, hey, I quit and then I left.
Yeah, I know. That's why you're here.
That's what I did at Walmart too. It was fun. Actually, Walmart was even better because I was like in an unhinged mental state. I showed up like 3 hours late for my shift, and I walked up to a guy who wasn't even my boss, and I was like, I don't ever want to come here again. Is that cool with you? And he was like, yeah. Are you quitting? And I was like, mm-hmm.
Did he work there?
Yeah, he was a manager, but he wasn't mine. And he was like, "Are you quitting?" And I was like, "Mm-hmm." And he just took my vest and shook my hand, and then I screamed at a lady and left.
Yeah, and then you played. You said that you played some song super loud, and then.
It was "Take This Job and Shove It" by the Dead Kennedys.
Oh yeah, it happens.
I did that when I left Kroger the other day too.
Wow.
I just thought it's funny.
It's pretty funny.
And then so I didn't yell at anybody this time.
Nah, too bad.
And I wasn't in an unhinged mental state, just like I was bored. So I'm making progress. I'm gonna get another job, but I just Kroger. It's not a bad place to work necessarily, but they don't pay enough for the amount of work you do. And
No, they don't. So I was saying, I was getting paid like $13.10 for doing like a $22 an hour job.
Yeah, exactly. And so like the place I'm gonna go work at now, it's like most of the time you're just pushing a button every 2 minutes and you get paid 18 starting.
Yeah.
I was only making like 14 something at Kroger. It's bullshit. But it's just like I take issue with a lot of the attitudes older people have. Even a lot of people our
the same
age,
thing.
where it's like, you have to work, even if you don't need money, you have to work, or like, I think because when I say things like that, it just sounds like I'm lazy, but it's because I don't derive value from life when I'm working a job that like purely just serves some corporation and does nothing other than waste my life.
Yeah.
I don't get why like other I think it's just like it's a very American mindset where it's like we've been brainwashed into thinking you're not useful to society or yourself unless you're like a wage slave at some corporation or doing something to grease the gears of capitalism.
Well, I thought you were gonna go like in a different direction with that, with like how boomers will fucking call you lazy and shit, and then they'll be like they'll be just as lazy, if not more, with their fucking thing. Because they are like, oh, well, we had a pension and blah, 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 and pensions don't exist anymore. So you guys, like, are kind of fucked because you guys are, it's your guys' fault that you're born in an economic drought right now.
Yeah.
So, and, no, so I saw this video the other day. It was just a video of just all these Congress workers. And it was like all these fucking old people, and they're just asleep. And it was like, these people are getting paid $87 an hour. And then it cut to this other dude, and he was like, that generation, man, they're so lazy. They have no worth ethic at all, and blah blah. Well, like everything that they say to us.
What are you talking about? You said there's Congress workers in front of old people.
No, I said there's a video of Congress workers that were old people that were like,
so you're talking like,
and they're all just asleep, like doing their job. They're just all asleep, and they're getting paid $87 an hour just sit there and be asleep.
Were they wearing funny robes?
No, they were not. They were there for a hearing.
It was the Supreme Court. Or...
No, it wasn't the Supreme Court. It was, people that run the country.
Like Senate or House of Representatives?
I don't know. It just was Congress workers.
Well, it's one of those two.
Exactly, it's fucking one of those two. Why do I have to be so specific about it?
Because I'm trying to figure out who you're talking about.
Figure it out on your own time.
All right.
This is Corgan's time.
It's okay, Corgan. Use your time.
I'm done now. You ruined my story.
No, there was a guy who was...
Yeah, and he's saying that they have no worth ethic and they're just lazy and disrespectful and stuff. Basically everything that boomers say about our generation and any other generation below them. But the funny thing about it is the generation before them said the exact same thing about them, and it happens. It's always going to fucking happen until the end of history. The generation before, like the generation after us, we're probably going to say they're lazy and stuff. And it's just going to keep on going.
Well, you don't need to worry about it because our generation is going to be like the second to last generation. So,
our Generation Alpha, the 2013 or 2010 people.
Second to last. But like by the time we're like in our 40s, it's gonna be hard to breathe. So.
I feel like we'll figure it out.
Hope so. Probably won't.
That's
all right.
It'll buff.
I've accepted it at this point. We're here for a short time and a bad time.
You ever thought about how close that is for you in your 40s? It's about your lifespan one more time.
I'm 21 now.
Yeah, you got 9 years.
I'm gonna do this shit again, and then I'll be 40.
Yeah, you got 9 years until you're 30. How does that make you feel?
Sad.
Yeah,
sad.
I always thought, and I still do, I'm probably gonna kill myself before I turn 30, but it's not gonna happen because that's what every teenager says.
Yeah, you should not do that. I didn't say that when I was a teenager.
I mean, like, fucking. It's just like a mindset that you're not gonna live till you're 30. Like, it's hard to believe that because that feels like it's such a far away.
I mean, 40 is 20 years still. I think like part of the reason childhood goes so fast too is because your brain's all mushy still.
Yeah.
And then once your brain's all hard, you can actually form memories.
My brain is very hard and smooth.
Yeah, so
that's
I think,
why I'm so good at.
Now there's basically the way your brain processes time, right? Is when you're 5 and someone tells you have to wait an hour to do something, that is forever because you've only been alive for a short time. So very small amounts of time seem huge to you, but when you've been alive like 60 years, you've lived a lot of hours. So the hours are going by faster and faster. So relatively to your brain, an hour is much shorter. A day is much shorter. A year is much shorter.
Is that why old people just like sometimes just like sit there and then you just like walk in front of me and be like
yeah,
they don't respond or anything.
Like
think
40
they're
minutes later, they're like, oh.
yeah, they'll regain consciousness.
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about. But I also think like we're in a position though right now where your first 20 years go by pretty fast because your brain's still developing. The second 20 years isn't necessarily going to feel that fast. The third 20 years is going to go by like that, and then it's going to go by like that again, and you'll be dead.
Dude, what about Will? I feel like Will's already fully developed because that man could fast travel already.
Dude, that's pretty impressive. I love when he fast travels. We'll be in a car, and will just sit in the back seat and look straight ahead and do nothing. And if you talk to him, you have to like snap him out of his
Yeah, well,
trance.
if you talk to him, it'll be like, "Hey, well, how you doing today?" And he'd be like, "I'm doing okay." And like that'll be the end of the conversation.
He just gives pre-written responses until you get to your destination.
I fucking hate it when he does that. So the other day I was driving him around and I was like sitting there talking to him. I'm like, "Hey, Will, like it's been a while. How you doing?" He's like, "I'm doing all right." I'm like, "Okay." Well, I'm doing pretty good too, man. He's like, "Okay." I'm like, "Okay." Anything exciting happened to you? And he goes, "Well, I went to a concert." I'm like, "Okay. Who was at the concert?" He goes, "I don't remember." He's like, that's how conversations with him go if you're doing something that doesn't interest him.
So here's the thing about Will, the way he like tells stories. Like, you could go like a span of 10 years without seeing Will, and you finally link back up with him again. He will tell you nothing about anything that's happened in the past 10 years. But then like after you've been hanging out for like a month, he'll just mention offhand like, "Oh yeah, I found some uranium in my backyard," like some crazy shit.
Yeah, I'm a millionaire now.
You're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I have like $20 billion in the bank." Like, it's like, dude, I've been like buying you food and stuff. Where's that money at? That's very much a Will thing.
Yeah. So, have you been outside yet?
I haven't been outside.
All right, I can't ask you about the weather.
I went out to my car to get something earlier.
Yeah, you went to Walmart.
Oh, I did go. I forgot I went to
buy
Walmart.
these wonderful
I take
Auburn
back everything I
lights.
said about your brain developing and being able to form more memories because I went to Walmart like 2 hours ago and I forgot already.
Dude, it's okay. I don't remember anything that happened before I came here. It wasn't important. Do you ever think so? Just going on the fast, it just popped in my brain because of that. Going like the whole fast traveling thing. Do you ever think that was weird? Like if you're driving the car by yourself, like you can sit there and you'd be really fucking bored, and then by the time you get to your destination, like you don't even remember like
Dude,
the whole drive.
That is the most terrifying thing. I did that yesterday. I was going down the road and I was like, I don't remember anything from the last 10 minutes. But I'm still alive, so apparently I didn't hit anything.
Yeah, that's how it is. Like it's like scary because I'll do that like if I'm on like the interstate or something, and I'll just be driving and I'll just zone out, and I'm like still going with traffic and shit, and like eventually I just like pop back in. And I'm like, oh, I'm driving.
Yeah, there's a name for it. I don't remember what it's called, but it's basically like because you're doing such a like continuous monotonous task, your brain basically goes in autopilot where like you'll still like you're not actually zoned out, but you'll still react to the road. Like if there's a red light, you'll stop and. If someone runs in front of your car, you're not going to hit them. But you also just like your brain is like completely processing information from somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, it's like I have to drive to Franklin about like 2 times a week every week, and it's like an hour drive from where I live, and like it's like I don't know. As like I drive there, and like I'll process the first like I don't know maybe 15 miles, and then after that it's kind of like gone, and then I'll hit like a place that I remember, and then I just remember where I'm going from there. Like coming here, I memorize the way, so it's just kind of I'm just like the entire time I'm driving, I just I don't exist.
I had a dream the other day.
Yeah, how'd it go?
Wait, so what I had 2 dreams. What was the one that I sent to you? I sent one to the group chat.
Was it the one where you had sex with that lady in a barn or whatever?
It's like part of it.
I don't remember.
I'll tell that story first. I like that dream.
I don't remember your dreams.
So I had this dream that all of our friends were hanging out at a football field.
I can pull it up. I can pull it up.
No, I remember it. I remember it. I just couldn't remember which one I had told you. But we were all hanging out at a football field, and Kenny fell and broke his dick.
Oh.
Yeah, and he was like screaming and stuff. So we took him to the hospital, and we got to the emergency room, and the doctor comes in and looks at his dick, and he goes, "His dick ain't broke." And then he got all mad at us because we brought Kenny to the hospital and his dick wasn't broken. So he gave us a pop quiz.
The dick doctor.
Yeah, he gave us a pop quiz, and the quiz was algebra. It was polynomials.
Ugh.
I don't remember how to do polynomials.
I don't either.
So I started panicking, right? And I drew some boobs on on the paper, and the doctor teacher walked by and he was like, "What is that?" And then I just panicked and stood up and punched him in the neck, and he like fell on the ground choking, and I just ran out, and I got to my car, and I was driving down the road, just like it's like wooded road, and then the road leads to this barn, and it goes through the barn, but the doors are closed. So I go, "What the hell?" And I get out of the car and I go in the barn. I'm looking for a way to open the doors so I can keep going. And then there's this lady on a horse, and I was like, she's pretty hot. And then I asked her to open the barn doors, and she did. And then I kept driving, but then I was like, wait a second, I'm pretty sure this is a dream, so I'm gonna go fuck that lady. So then I go back, and I find there's like a house next to the barn, and I go into the house, and the house, it was just a bunch of hallways, and every room was a bedroom full of lamps, like antique lamps. Every room had like 10 lamps.
What about the pig?
Well, I'm getting to that.
Okay.
And then I go up to the attic of this house, and it's full of lamps. And there's a pig there. It's like a baby pig, and he's wearing a sweater, and he's laying on a pile of hay. And I go, "Oh, a pig!" And then I start to pet him, and he bites my finger. And I said, "You motherfucker!" And then I punch the pig, and then he fucking launches at me and starts trying to bite my fingers off. I don't know why. I remember like thinking in my head like, pigs love to bite people's fingers off.
Dude,
this is what he wants to do to me.
You treated that pig like how Will treats dogs, where he's just like he's sitting there petting it, and he's just like fucking trying to punch the dog in the face.
Will will try and punch a dog for no reason. The pig bit me, man. So I panic again and run away, get in my car, and I peel out, and then I drive to my grandma's house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Grandma, a pig bit my finger, and I don't remember how to do polynomials. Help." And then she made me cookies, and I was sitting there with my grandma eating cookies, and then the pig ran in the house and leapt at me, and I fucking like grabbed it and just chucked it at my grandma's face, and it lashed onto her face and was just eating the shit out of my grandma's face. And I start punching, but I keep missing and punching my grandma. And I felt so bad because I was just beating the shit out of my grandma because the pig kept dodging all my punches.
Dude, I hate it whenever you're punching in dreams because it's like it feels like you're like going for the punch, and then as you're getting there, it's like,
oh, I have a story about that too. But yeah, so I grabbed the pig and I chucked him out my grandma's living room window, and that was the last I saw of him. And then I woke up.
So your polynomials thing made me think you like drew boobs. Is whenever I was in like I don't know, I was a sophomore in high school or something. I was in summer school. We had this teacher named Mr. V, who was like this super chill dude that would like just pass anybody if you saw that you did any remote amount of work, like a single assignment.
Yeah.
So what I did was, I think I did like 2 assignments and I got a C plus or something. But like, the fucking like we had a graph thing, and like I drew this very detailed picture of like a cock, and then submitted it to him. And then like later I drew this picture of like this I don't know, stick figure with tits and a dick. And like submitted it to him, and then I remember doing that, and he looked at it and he was like kind of like, and just fucking like I just stopped looking at me. He just let me keep on doing my thing.
Yeah, he was fucking. He'll pass you if you like you do his final. You at least try to answer one question. He'll give you an A.
He's awesome. I loved him.
Yeah, Mr. V was cool.
What was your slow punches?
Well, no, it was. I don't even know what I was dreaming about. Something was probably trying to kill me. I don't remember the dream, but I woke up with my fist in a wall once.
Dude,
you know that big white spot next to my bed?
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah, I punched a hole in the wall in my sleep.
Dude, fucking! I remember one time I was asleep, and I was dreaming about something where I was like fighting somebody, and then I woke up, and like as soon as I woke up, I was just kind of like. Fucking, I just like decked the wall, and it was like super fucking loud. And I'm pretty sure I woke up my mom or something like that. But like I like remember like I punched the wall, and I'm like, the fuck just happened? Why did I just punch that wall?
That's the
Like
worst
my
part.
fucking
Is
my
you
fight or
don't-
flight sense is like activated.
You're sitting there and you don't even fucking know why you just reacted that way because you don't remember the dream. So then you feel even crazier.
Have you had those dreams where like in your dream you're talking and then out of nowhere you'll just say something actually, and then like I remember I do that sometimes and I wake myself up and I'll be like, nah, I just fucking go back to bed.
Well, I have sleep apnea.
I don't.
And
It's
then,
just weird for
well,
me
no,
though.
but then there's this other sleep disorder that sometimes comes along with sleep apnea. I don't remember. It's got a weird name, but I moan.
Mm.
Like when I'm in that in between stage between like light sleep and REM, I'll just start going like, and
Yeah,
it freaks out anybody who's nearby.
I've heard you do that before.
It's weird, yeah, and like, cause then I'm also asleep, so it's like I can't explain that I have a sleep disorder. They just think I'm like coming in my sleep or something. Cause I remember like I fell asleep in my algebra class one time, and I woke up and everybody was fucking staring at me like I was a freak, and I was like, was I doing the weird moaning thing? And then everybody was just like, mm-hmm.
You fucking. I hate it whenever like you're in class because I was like a professional sleeper during
Yeah,
school.
I remember.
Where like you'll fucking like you lean in there in your hand and you fall asleep and then you just.
Yeah,
Or
you almost,
fucking
like, fall
or
off your
fucking
desk.
the worst one was I'll be like laying on my head so like I can't do that, and then just out of nowhere I'll like wake up and scare myself and I'll just be like. Fucking, and everybody will look at you.
Yeah, I've done that
'cause you
before
fucking
too.
shake your entire desk.
Or I'll go like.
I remember doing that. I remember doing that before in like after I moved schools. I would fall asleep and I did that, and then one time the teacher's like, "Were you sleeping?" I was like, "No."
Oh, I did that one time. It was an algebra class, but it wasn't the algebra teacher we've talked about before. It was the other one. And I was asleep, and he woke me up by shaking me. So like he knew I was asleep, and he goes, "Don't sleep in class, or I'll have to kick you out." And I was like, "I wasn't asleep." And he's like, "I just woke you up." I was like, "I wasn't asleep." And then he goes, "Okay, someone just answered this question on the board. What was the answer?" And I was just like, 5. And it was the answer. Like, somehow it was correct. And then he was just standing there staring at me like, how did he know? Like, because I was very obviously asleep. I just guessed the answer correctly.
I hate it whenever like teachers will do that. Like you'll guess and you get something right and they just will not take that as an answer.
Yeah,
They'll be
they,
like,
get
"Well,
they get
anyway."
all pissed off that you gave them the right answer, even though that's what they were supposed to do.
Fucking, I remember our algebra teacher. It's how we met. I would like sleep in his class the entire time, and he'd fucking let me sleep because it's the only time I'd shut the fuck up. I think he did the exact same thing to you and Drew too.
Yeah, yeah. He kind of gave up because, especially after I was in his class for the third fucking time, he just kind of gave up on trying and let me do whatever I want as long as I wasn't being loud.
Remember that time when Drew made him a birdhouse?
Yeah, we've talked about this on the podcast.
It was in there for
before.
like 2 days and he threw it away.
Yeah, he spent like weeks making this intricate birdhouse for him, and then it was really nice birdhouse too. And then our teacher just fucking chucked it in the garbage.
He was awesome. Did you ever talk about where you saw him in like outside of school?
Yeah, he's like this real like
stoic.
Yeah, he's real
guy.
stoic. He's just like this real clean cut like. Oh, okay. For preface, when I graduated, I saw him like when I was leaving the school, and I was like, "Mr. Blank, we're peers now," and he goes, "No, we're not," and I go, "We could be called to the same jury," and he goes, "Yes, technically in society we are considered peers, but you and I will never be on the same intellectual level." And I was like, "Thanks." And then I shook his hand and left. And that's just that's like how he is. He's a nice guy underneath it all, but that's the kind of shit he'll say to you. And then I go, cut to like a few months later, I see him in Walmart. And I'm like, "Hey, Mr. Blank." And he's just like, "Hey, Justin, what's up? I saw your friends over there. You looking for him?" He's like being all happy, and it was disturbing, and I wanted to cry. I wanted to talk to him longer, but I ended up just making an excuse to leave because it was freaking me out so much.
Yeah.
He's just like, "Hey, man," and he was wearing like a Hawaiian shirt and sandals and shit, and that is not what he would wear to school.
Dude, fucking, I remember one time I was in a Spanish class. My Spanish teacher was like this 20-something year old. She wasn't much older than I was. And I I remember. I don't know. I was a senior in a class with one other senior, a junior, and then the rest were like sophomores or something. So everybody was like way younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was the oldest one in that class. But so I remember asking the teacher one day. I don't know. So my daily routine
Tell 'em
was
your story.
that was my first period class. So I would go and I'd show up probably about like 10 minutes late. I'd come in there. I'd drink like 2 5-hour energies, and then I'd just be like jacked up. And I would fucking be loud and like obnoxious. And I remember asking the teacher one time, I'm like, so after I graduate, and do you want to like go out and get a drink or something? And then she like looked at me and she was like, no. And then like the fucking other senior guy in there, he goes, man, you got more balls than I do. And then like everybody else is like, why did you ask that?
Why not?
I'm like, can't just not shoot your shot, dude. Like you gotta go for it.
What? It would have been the weirdest fucking thing if she said yes.
I would be awesome. But she was also
That'd be a problem.
But like that was like a week after she got married too. So, and I told her I was gonna come to her wedding and crash it.
Did you?
No, I didn't. Like I was. It was like a joke. But like all the other classes were obsessed with it, and they found out where she was getting married and stuff.
What?
I'm like,
Why? I hate it when people
I'm
do
like,
that shit.
you guys are taking it too far. Like
Yeah.
I'll make jokes about that stuff. You guys are taking it too far.
No, that's always so weird. I remember like other kids doing that in high school, where it's like they'll get really like they'll think they're like much closer with teachers than they are, and they'll start trying to like find them online and like get all their personal information and shit.
Yeah.
And it's just creepy. Why are you doing that?
I remember Drew asked me and Andrew both asked Mr. Miller if we could
You weren't
smoke.
supposed to say his name.
You just bleep it out when we're doing it.
Okay.
Uh,
Probably won't. Sorry, Mr. Miller.
just keep on bleeping. Just bleep it out. I remember saying we asked him if we can smoke a cigar with him
Yeah.
after we graduate, and he's like, maybe.
He said maybe to you?
Oh, he said maybe to Drew too.
Anytime I asked him anything like that, he'd just be like, no. Like, not even hesitating. Dude, he went to Drew's freaking graduation party.
Yeah.
Man, I was so jealous. I didn't invite any of my teachers because I thought that was weird.
None of my teachers came. I invited some of my teachers, and none of them came.
Mm.
It's kind of rude.
I came.
How much? How long have we been going?
Like 45 minutes.
45 minutes.
Yeah. No, I don't. How do you drink 5-hour energy? Like, that
Uh,
amount of caffeine in such a small amount of time would destroy my body.
it did, cause I would make it through like I don't know. I had 7 periods, so I'd make it through about 5, and on my 6th period I would just sleep that entire class, and then 7th period I would I don't even remember what my 7th period was. I think it was like math or something. What I would do was I would sleep, and then he'd hand out the assignments, and then I would just take my friends' notes,
Mhm.
and I would just use that to do all the shit, and then I'd just fall back asleep. It was like a whole like I don't know 20-minute process. So
Matt Kinney though, I think it was 10th grade. We were in we were in our first period, and Kenny doesn't even drink soda.
yeah,
Like he doesn't. He just drinks water. That's it. And so his body is not acclimated to caffeine at all. Like this is the first amount of caffeine he's had in years. Right. First period of the day, he just chugs a 5-hour energy, and then like 30 seconds later, he goes, "No, I don't feel anything." Chugs another one, and 5 minutes later, I look over. He's like turning blue. Like his skin is so pale, you can see like every vein, and he's shaking, and he's just staring at his desk with like a blank eye, like that. You could just tell his brain was melting,
yeah.
and it looked like he was on crack. And he just like stands up, and looks at the teacher, and he's just like, "I'm going to the nurse," and then just walks out. I didn't see him again till the next day.
I remember that first period where I would drink the 5-hour energies. I would like do it every single morning, and the Spanish teacher every morning would be like, "How do you do that?" I'm like, "I don't know, man. I'm just like roll tide. Like
Roll Tide.
I just do what I do." Fucking, I don't know. I had a very unhealthy habit. I would show up to like class almost every single day about 10 minutes late because I would wake up when school started, and then I would get ready and drive there.
Yeah, I was like my senior year. I was late to class almost every single day. My dad kept like,
I remember one time I just missed the period like entirely. Like, it was more than one time. I did it a couple times. I just missed first period entirely, and I would just get notes from other people.
Well, because it was like if you were like more than 10 minutes late, they like call your parents.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like every day they were calling my dad, and then every day he'd be like, "Stop going to school late, or you're like grounded or whatever." And I'd just be like, "I," and then I would still go to school late, and nothing ever happened.
Well, I don't know if they would call my mom. I think they would, and then my mom would call me, and she's like, "Are you going on? Are you on your way to school?" I'm like, "Yep."
You're still in bed. You're like, "Yeah, I'm walking in right
Oh
now,
no, like
Mom."
I don't know. I probably was, but like most of the time I would like be fucking really fucking lazy, and there's like a McDonald's right next to my school, and I would just go to the McDonald's, and then
Yeah.
I'd eat breakfast there, and then go to school.
Yeah, I got pulled over in high school because I
Yeah,
was late, and I was going like 60 and a 45.
I thought you
in
were
the
going
school
like
zone.
80.
I was going 60, but it was like right next to. I wasn't in the school zone, thankfully, or I probably would have gotten my license taken away. But I was right next to one, and the fucking our school resource officer pulled me over. I don't know what pulled me over, and he's like this tall. Audio listeners, I'm holding my hand like 5 inches off the table, and bald and had a goatee. Like you think like hog, right? Like someone who's born to be a cop. Now shrink him down to the size of like one of those troll dolls.
Like,
That's
almost
our
like almost a midget.
yeah. That was like yeah. He's like right over the legal limit. Uh,
It's he's legally not a midget.
yeah, but that was our school resource officer, and
He's pretty cool.
he was a nice guy as far as cops go.
He's a lot better than the town cop that was there.
Dude,
I
yeah,
remember that they would get. I didn't they argue all the time.
yeah, no, they don't like each other. The freaking yeah, town cops are assholes. But he pulls me over, and I was sitting there thinking like, oh God, I hope it's Cyples. Oh, I should probably not say his name.
Just bleep that out too.
Yeah, I'll bleep that out too. I got a lot of bleeping to do. Anyway, I was like,
It only takes like a couple seconds.
I hope it's that guy, and it was thankfully. He comes walking up, and he's like, did you know you were speeding? And I was like, yes, I did. I was late. I'm sorry. And he's like, well, you shouldn't be doing that. And I was like, I know. He's like, you own this car? I was like, no, my dad does. And he's like, well, he's not gonna like that you were speeding. I was like, probably not. He gave me a ticket, and like he was, oh my God, it could have been so bad because he asked for my insurance and stuff, and I'm looking through the glove box. I found the registration, but it was like one registration old.
Mm-hmm.
So this one was expired. I had paid for a new one, but it was gone. I look at and I didn't find my insurance at all. I don't know what happened. They just disappeared. I think someone was trying to murder me. But I didn't have any of that shit, and he ended up letting me go. Like that could have been really bad because I would have had like a huge fine and lost my license. And I didn't.
Do you remember Brandon? I think he was maybe a grade above you. He was in marching band. He was.
Oh yeah.
So I was in marching band with him, and I remember one day we were out in the parking lot 'cause that's where we would practice, and there was a parking ticket on the ground, and I went over and picked it up, and I was like telling people about it. I'm like, I found this, and then Brandon grabbed it and looked at it, and he goes, "Oh, this is mine. I threw it out my window." I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, I just threw it. I don't want to pay for it." I'm like, "That's not how it works, dude." This is before I had a car. But I knew better than he did, and he's the one who got the ticket.
Dude, it's even more fucked up though, because like my dad was gonna pay it because I didn't have a job or anything. I was in high school, and then I start college, and I'm like 3 weeks into the first semester, and my dad calls me. He's like, "Hey, did you know you've been driving around with a suspended license for like months?" And I was like, "No, I didn't know that." And he's like, "Yeah, I forgot to pay that ticket." He didn't even tell me. And he's like, "I took care of it though, so you're good now." I was like, dude, I was driving around making it by the skin on my teeth.
I don't think I've ever gotten my license. I think I've only gotten pulled over maybe like 2 or 3 times. And I remember I got a warning for like all 3 of them. I don't think I've ever gotten a ticket.
Man, you suck. White privilege.
Yeah.
They hate me because I'm black.
You look more white than I do. You're red.
Yeah, I'm just fucking. That's what they think I'm like.
So like my man, Larry the Lobster.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
How many times you got pulled over? I've gotten pulled over in the car with you.
Yeah, I've been pulled over a lot. I've only ever gotten one ticket for real, but I get pulled over for the dumbest shit. it was like 4th of July, so they were probably just looking for drunk drivers.
Mm-hmm.
I got pulled over going 2 miles over the speed limit. That motherfucker gave me a warning. Like, you shouldn't even be giving me a written warning when I'm going 2 miles over.
Dude, so my math teacher was telling me about this kid that was in a different class than us that got a ticket for going 1 mile over the speed limit.
A ticket?
Yeah, and he's like, he had to have like pissed that cop off or something.
Yeah, he must have been being a jackass some way.
Like, how much would a ticket for that be? Like $20? Like, I bet.
Yeah, I don't know. Cops are fucking dicks, man. I hate. Like, I've never talked to a cop and been like, oh yeah, he's cool.
So, like, I've never met a cop in person that's been like nice to me, but I've seen like, I don't know, ones on the internets that have been like a lot better than.
Yeah, I'm not saying they don't exist.
I just feel like since it's a very, I don't know, red state we live in, cops are a lot more harsh than they would be in bluer states.
I don't know that it matters.
I think it does.
Well, like, just the job itself is gonna attract people who crave power in general. So it's the kind of job that attracts assholes. That's why they're all dicks.
Have I told that story about me getting a gun pointed at me on this?
No, I don't think so.
So this one time, it was me and this kid named Ash, and we went to this this ice cream place called the Dairyette where I lived, and we were getting ice cream, and so this place is like, I don't know, it's like the whole entire building is like 2 yards by 3 yards.
Yeah, it's like a real small. It's not. You don't actually go inside. You just walk up to the window and get ice cream.
And the parking lot is very confusing because there's this like just empty space, and then on the other side of it, there's this big building and a house, maybe like, I don't know, 20 feet from the building, but there's gravel by the giant building. So we parked at that building.
It looks like it's the ice cream place's parking lot.
And then I don't know. So we get our ice cream and we're sitting there eating it on like I don't know, bench or something. And then we see some dude go from that house and get in our car and then just drive it away. And then like he gets on the highway and just drives it away. And then like we start to chase it, but like we can't chase the car, so we're just kind of like, what the fuck?
GTA,
like, are you fucking kidding me? And we're like freaking the fuck out. And then like 5 minutes later, he pulls back up and parks in like the actual parking lot, I guess it was, and gets out and he goes, "You guys are fucking assholes! You fucking park in my driveway and blah 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 blah." And we're like, "What?" He's like, "You parked in my driveway." I'm like, "I thought that was just a big empty building. Like, is that your house?" And he goes, "No, my house is right there." And he points at the house like 20 feet away from where we parked, like from the building more than where we parked. And we're like, okay. So then he goes into his house and comes back out and he has a gun and he's like pointing it at us and stuff. He's like, "You guys are fucking dicks and I'm gonna fucking shoot you and blah 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 blah." And we're like, okay. So we called the cops and the cops came and the cops parked where we were parked.
There's about to be a shootout. Yeah. There he is.
And they get out and they're asking us what's happening. And we're like, well, we parked where you guys are parked and he got in our car and drove it away. And like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. He came back outside and he has a gun and he's pointing at us. He's like, "Well, did he leave his property?" And we're like, did he leave his property with a gun? And we're like, "No." He's like, "Well, there's nothing we can do about it." I'm like, "But he took the car and drove it away." And they're like, "Yeah, there's really nothing we can do about it." So they go walk to the guy and they're like, "Well, you got to put a no trespassing sign." And he's like, "Well, I don't understand how people don't understand that that's my driveway." And they're like, "It's your driveway?" And they're like, he's like, "Yeah." They're like, "Well, we parked there too. We thought it was the ice cream place's driveway." He's like, "No, it's not, you fucking idiots." And then the cops left, and then you and all our friends showed up, and you're like, "What's going on?" And
we're just like a van full of hooligans, and we see you guys sitting there talking to a cop.
Yeah, and then we're just like, "All right, you know what? We're out of here." We left after you guys like got there.
Yeah.
So that was my story about me getting a gun pulled on me.
Well, and that's like, I don't know if it is anymore. They might have changed it recently. They've done a lot of gun law shit in Indiana recently, but I think we're a stand your ground state, so he could have just shot you.
He could have
not gotten in trouble.
But I wasn't on his property. I was outside of it. He was on his property with a gun.
But that if you were on his property, he could have, like, as far as I know, he could have just been like, "You're trespassing, bang bang, you're dead," and nothing would have happened.
Mind you, this was the least intimidating man. He was probably about, I don't know.
Oh, I saw him.
He's probably he's a little bit shorter than us because we're the same height. He was like I don't know 5'5" or something like
Yeah.
that. Like
Little
easily
manlet.
400 pounds with a tucked in like red shirt and cargo shorts, yelling at us, pointing a gun at us, and we're like, that was the only thing that was scary about him is the fact that he had a gun. Everything else about him, I'm like, dude, fucking, I could throw a piece of bacon and you go fetch it, like, and I just get out of there. So,
Yeah, I don't know. That's just, yeah.
all right, is that it? Is that what we got?
I don't know. What do you want to go do after this? You know, like
I want to go get some food.
you do a little kissing.
Yeah, we got maybe dinner first.
Oh,
Ah.
you did a little kissing.
Oh yeah, I did. How are we not talking about that entire?
I don't know
night?
why we didn't. Okay, so on the next episode of the Fat Elvis podcast,
Corgan kisses Will.
Corgan kisses Will, not clickbait, for real, twice. Yeah, twice. Yeah, so if you want to hear some saucy details about that, tune in next week.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll come out next week.
Hopefully.
And then after that, we're
Hopefully
gonna have
this will come out this week.
yeah. After that, we're gonna have a Halloween extravaganza. That
Yeah.
should be pretty fun. We're gonna talk about some spooky shit.
All right.
So you better fucking come listen, or I'll make you park in my yard so I can shoot you.
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
All right. Goodbye. I love you.
I love you.